Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I'm Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. What I want to talk about in this video is a incident that took place, and we all know about it. The young man that collapsed on the field in Monday night NFL football. And right now he's in critical condition. I watched the clip. I didn't get a chance to see the game, but I did watch the clip. I saw what happened, and everyone on the field was in solidarity for praying for this young man. And in fact, when I saw it and then I began to do a little research on it and go a little and watch other videos on it and other YouTubers, I began to just fall on my knees. I started praying myself. I began to pray and cry out to God myself for this young man. I don't know much about him, but this situation is tragic. It's heartbreaking, and I'm praying that God will heal him. So there's been a lot of emotion involved in this incident. From what I understand right now, he's conscious and breathing, but he's in critical condition right now. And no one really knows what the outcome may be. Prayerfully, once again, I pray that he will be restored to his normal health. But needless to say, there is a lot of emotion involved in this with the players, with sports commentators, with fans, and just overall, there's a lot of emotion involved in this. And Skip Bayless, a sports commentator, is being criticized strongly for a tweet that he made when this occurred. Now, some of you already know about this tweet. And Skip Bayless got a lot of backlash on Twitter for this, okay? And the tweet that he gave seems to be a heartless tweet. You know, it seemed to be, well, you're more focused on the game continuing on in such an important time. You seem to be more concerned about the game continuing on instead of this young man's life. So Skip Bayless retweeted an apology. Now, some have questioned whether or not his apology was sincere. I've read the tweet. You know, me personally, I believe he was sincere. I don't believe that Skip Bayless meant anything or meant any kind of harm when he said what he said in his tweet. I don't believe that was what he intended. What would be the purpose behind that? However, people are tweeting in response to his apology. They're retweeting that they really, in so many ways, don't care about his apology. They want to actually get him canceled and get him fired. So there are people right now that want to get Skip Bayless fired because of what he said. Forget that he apologized. The way they're seeing it, he wasn't sincere. We want this guy to be fired. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read you guys this article. And I'm going to let you listen in on a audio clip of Skip Bayless once again apologizing. And then I'm going to read you some of the tweets of individuals, and I believe one particular individual was a ex-football star, saying some things that were pretty rough, calling for this man to be fired. And it's pretty rough. But what I want to do, I want to read this article, and I'm going to let you guys listen in on the audio clip. I'm going to give you my commentary. So the article starts off, athletes have called for Fox Sports to fire anchor Skip Bayless for his tweet in response to Damar Hamlin suddenly collapsing during the Monday Night Football game this week. No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of the game, but how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant, Bayless tweeted on Monday night. That was his actual tweet on Monday night, okay? In response to the backlash, Bayless later specified that he did not mean to diminish Damar Hamlin's deeply serious situation. Nothing is more important than that young man's health. That was the point of my last tweet. I'm sorry if that was misunderstood, but his health is all that matters. Again, Everything else is irrelevant. I prayed for him and will continue to, he later tweeted. Bayless tactfully addressed the controversy on his show Undisputed on Tuesday that did not have his co-host Shannon Sharpe in attendance. I apologize for what we're going to set out to do here today if it offends anyone, because we're going to try to do the show pretty much as we usually do the show, he said. Bayless even admitted that he was still shaken up by the whole episode and that he did not know if he could do the show per usual. And here is an audio clip of his words. And this is maybe like a little over 2 minutes, but here's an audio clip of what he said.
Say up front that I apologize for what we're going to set out to do here today if it offends anyone, because we're going to try to do the show pretty much as we usually do the show. But I'll admit up front, I'm still shook up by what happened last night to Damar Hamlin. In fact, I'm still wrecked. In fact, I'm not sure I'm capable of doing this show today. But after barely sleeping on it, I decided to give it a try. Maybe I'll fail, maybe we will fail, but we're going to try. We wrestled through much of the night whether to even do a show today, because it felt like in our minds we almost can't win with this, because the last thing we want to try to do is come off as insensitive to what this young man is going through in a life or death situation. The last thing we want to do is offend anyone by trying to do what we always do, which is talk about sports. As this show goes on, we're going to try to talk about a little bit of sports, but we're going to continue to talk about what happened to this young man last night and try to sort back through it with help from you and the audience. And we ask you now, if you'd like to tweet us your emotions of the night and of this morning about what happened to Damar Hamlin, please do so. You can tweet us at @undisputed, and I will be sharing some of your tweets and your emotions as we share our experience of last night through this very difficult morning for all of us. Obviously, my partner Shannon Sharpe is not here today. I look forward to seeing him tomorrow.
Those are very solemn. Those are some very solemn words. It seems to me that this man was apologetic. He meant no harm. But let's go on. Nonetheless, people on Twitter have still been calling for the anchor's head. And here's one particular tweet by Des Bryan. Just sit in big capital letters, "We need to cancel Real Skip Bayless ASAP." Let's see, here's another one. Here's one particular tweet. That's just one tweet. Here's another tweet here. I think this is the one that really stood out to me. NFL Hall of Famer Terrell Owens likewise said on his Instagram that Bayless had the most, quote, despicable tweet ever. And here's this guy's tweet. He says, "I would like to say I'm shocked by this tweet, but quite frankly, I'm not, because of who I've known you to be," said Owens. "I hope you lose your job." And he has the phrase "lose your job" in big capital letters, all capital letters. "For you, Skip Bayless, to think the magnitude of this game trumps the life of a player is inhumane. I hope Shannon Sharpe 84 puts this in a better perspective for you, since you continue to say the most unimaginable stuff out of your ridiculous mouth. There has to be some," in capital letters, "major consequences / implications to this irresponsible ASS tweet. You're, capital letters, low life, with italics, he added. And that's the end of that article there. That's pretty severe. It's pretty severe to say those things. But here's my assessment. I analyzed this article and I thought about everything that surrounds this young man. And I thought about everything that Skip Bayless said. And I thought about his apologies. And I also thought about the tweets and these people wanting him to be canceled or fired. I thought about emotions. How emotions can dictate decisions, and then we look back at the decisions that we've made and we say, man, I wish I hadn't have made that decision. I was just feeling some kind of way before. And now I've made this decision, and now look at the consequences. I just want to say, in my opinion, that I don't think at all that they should be calling for this man to be fired. Now, I don't know Skip Bayless's history. This other guy claims to know Skip Bayless's history. I don't watch sports commentaries that much. I hear them here and there. I love watching football, and I love watching the game, but I'm not into too much of the sports commentators and so forth. I've heard some good things about Skip Bayless. I heard some bad things about Skip Bayless. I really can't say. This guy here that says he wants him to lose his job, okay, he states in his tweet that he knows this guy. He knows Skip Bayless, and that apparently, according to his tweet, Skip Bayless has said some inappropriate things in the past. So I can't say. But what I can say from my perspective and my opinion, that I feel that at this moment, we should not allow our emotions to get the most of us, because regardless of whatever the situation may be or the outcome may be, getting someone fired after they apologized for the tweets that they put on there before, after they apologized, to get them fired, I think is overreacting. And emotion can get the most of you, man. It can cause you to say, see, our emotions are different than our intellect, right? We all know that. We have intellect and reason, and we have emotion. I believe God gave us both. He gave us both, but there has to be a balance. I'm going to be transparent with you. A situation happened on my job New Year's Eve, I believe. New Year's Eve. I had just finished my last round, and everything was going pretty good. I said, maybe I'm going to make it through this day without any nonsense. But needless to say, something ended up happening, and my dispatcher called for bike patrol to come up to the front and deal with something that we had no real control over, because we didn't have any police officers. It was just the guards. There was no police officers in Tower City that day. Of all days for something like this to happen, we didn't have any police officers. Are you kidding me? Emotions. So at that moment, I was angry. I snapped. I'm just honest. What I mean by snapped, I mean I was angry. I didn't go off and start fighting people, but I was angry. So I rushed up to the front port, what's known as the front portico area. Rush up there, and I'm like, what's the deal? What's going on? What's going on here? Okay, y'all want me to be the police officer? I'm going to be the police officer. You want me to be the supervisor? I'm going to be the supervisor. And I came in bum rushing. I came in wanting to find out what was going on, and I was so upset. That after the incident, I said to my supervisor, I'm going home. I said, you know what? I'm going home for today. I'm tired of this. Something's going to happen. Somebody's going to get hurt. I'm tired. I don't want to deal with this. I'm sick and tired of dealing with these people. I'm going. So I took my bike and I started rushing back to the office. So I'm inside the office, and my supervisor, as I'm heading towards the office, he's coming in the opposite direction to address the situation in the front portico area. And he says, everything all set? Okay. I said, no, it's not. I'm going home for the night. I'm tired, man. I don't want to deal with this. He didn't say, okay, stay today, Bowling. He didn't say any of that. Clearly, I was emotional. So I go inside the office, right? Put my bike up. And I stood there for a good 2 minutes. And I heard God speak to my mind, not an audible voice, but I heard him speak to my mind and says, "You're letting it happen again. Just take a breather, relax, and go back out there. Because if you leave, there's going to be one less guard on the floor, and they need everybody. Because they already don't have any police officers. They need everybody." And I felt bad about it, and I went and apologized, and I stayed for the night. But my point in sharing that story with you guys is to share with you about reacting to things emotionally and not logically, and not with reason. Emotions, oftentimes people react to things emotionally because you feel emotion clearly. It's an emotion, it's feeling. You don't feel intellect and reason. You don't feel that. You think that. But you feel the emotion. You feel the rage, or you feel the happiness, or you feel the love. You feel it. And it's more intense than logic and reason. Logic and reason is not intense. Emotion is, whether it be good or whether it be bad. So what happens is, if we don't allow logic and reason to take over, emotion will take over, and we will say and do things that when we look back in retrospect, we say, man, I wish I had allowed my logic and reason to take over rather than my emotions. It sounds like I'm preaching here, but I'm just trying to share some things here, you know. And I feel that in this situation here, these people wanting Skip Bayless to be fired, they're reacting out of emotion because of the situation of the time. It's a sad situation. Our prayers go up for this young man, but we cannot allow our emotions to control our decision making. So no, I'm totally against him being canceled or fired. He apologized for what he said. Let's move on and let's pray for this young man to be restored to health again. Because if it was emotional when he went down, we're going to be if we were emotional when the young man went down, we're going to be emotional when someone says something that we think is heartless. That's one of the reasons why I don't deal with people on a one-on-one basis initiatively as much as I used to. Because people have just gone buck crazy. They have lost all self-control, all everything. So the only time I deal with people now is if I feel led by God to deal with them, or they come to me asking questions or wanting to spark a conversation. But usually I just sit and listen to see if they're a sane person. And if I determine that they're not sane, they're off their rocker, I'll find some way to cut the conversation off, because I know that they're gone. I've learned that. So that's what I wanted to say here. That's what I wanted to make a comment on here. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.